I pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of each and every one of our hearts here today will please God, who is our rock and our Redeemer. Mattel Dawson Jr. 10 years ago, in the New York Times, they published a story on this man, Mattel Dawson Jr. 10 years ago, November 13th, 2002, just about 10 days after he had died. Now, he was a forklift operator at Ford. But what would motivate the New York Times to publish? This was not the obituary section, but they had a story on him and his life. He was just an ordinary guy, hardworking, father, had an ex-wife. The New York Times didn't find any of this very interesting, but they published a story on him because at the time of his death, Mattel had given over $1 million to charity. Now where did Mattel Dawson, $1.3 million to be precise, he's giving away to charity. Where did Mattel Dawson Jr., a hardworking man, forklift operator at the Ford plant, get $1 million+ to give away? Well, he didn't win the lottery, he's not a lottery winner, and he didn't receive some large inheritance. Mattel earned his $1.3 million, 1 penny at a time, working at an hourly rate for Ford. How did he do this? How did he manage to scrimp and save all this money? He, when he was asked this, said, very simply, he said, I lived below my means. That was the big secret. I lived below my means. This is how much I made. This is how much I spent. This is how much I made. This is how much I spent. So simple. Such a simple principle. And yet it encapsulates all the principles that we've been talking about. 2 weeks ago, when I started our stewardship service, I talked about the first 3 principles. And I'm going to talk about the last 4 today. But I want to review just very briefly the first 3 destinations on Crown's roadmap to true financial freedom. And that's what we're talking about. We're moving toward true financial freedom. How do we get there from where we are? Wherever you are, there is a path that you can follow to reach true financial freedom. And we're going to look at those destinations today. The first destination is simply this. You save $1,000 for emergencies. In case something comes up, you have $1,000 to pay for it. You begin tithing. You need to learn to train yourself to be generous and giving and to trust God with your money. And these principles came from Proverbs 21. The wise man saves for the future, but the foolish man spends whatever he gets. You may notice the picture down here of a grasshopper and an ant. You remember the old story of the grasshopper and the ant? The grasshopper played and just dribbled away the summer and just, enjoyed himself, laughing and mocking the ant who was working hard all summer. But when winter came, on the right side, you see the grasshopper there shivering, knocking on the ant's front door. The ant is standing there in a warm, cozy, heated little house. And the grasshopper learned his lesson, perhaps a day late and certainly $1 short. Next destination 2, is pay off your credit cards because they have the highest interest rate. You will remember the illustration that Ryan and Ryan so helpfully conveyed with the water jug with the holes in the bottom where Ryan's trying to fill it up and the holes are draining out the bottom and he keeps pouring in and it keeps coming out. These high interest cards are going to drain any dollars that you save. They're going to draw away from your savings. And also to reach destination 2, you want to increase your emergency savings from $1,000 to 1 month's expenditures, whatever you spend in a month. So you can see you're building up your savings and you're paying down your debt. This principle comes from Proverbs 22:7. The borrower is slave to the lender. When you've got credit card debt, like this picture suggests, your hands are tied. You don't have freedom to do what you want. You've got heavy debt weighing you down. Remember we said you can't afford to be sick. You can't afford to miss work because you're so strapped with debt. We move on to destination 3. As you're working through this process, you're moving forward. You have setbacks. You continue to move forward, and maybe you step 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. You're moving in the right direction, though. So after you've paid off your credit cards, the next debt that you want to pay off is your consumer debt. Car loans, large appliances, anything that you've taken debt for to purchase, medical expenses, those sorts of things, which we know can be very, very expensive. But that's the next thing that you work to pay off, and you can increase your savings from 1 month to 3 months. This comes from Romans 13:8. This principle, Romans 13:8, owe nothing to anyone. Today we're going to pick up at destination 4. Destination 4 comes from Proverbs 21:5, which Jeanette read for you. Steady plodding brings prosperity. Steady plodding brings prosperity. And one of the things that Compass One and Crown always emphasize when they're talking is get rich quick schemes are usually schemes and scams. Steady plodding, working hard over the long haul is the way to earn true financial freedom. But also to do this, you begin saving for your major purchase. So instead of going into debt for your next car, you begin saving for it now, so that when you buy your next car, you don't have to pay the interest of the car loan. So you save in advance for that which you know you're going to need. I heard a comedian once say, when I was little, my parents were kind of strange. They said if they didn't have money to buy something, they didn't buy it. They didn't buy it. Today, we have the opposite idea. If you don't have money for something, charge it. Right? If you don't have money for something, credit. Right? But the parents or grandparents, and I trust some people here today, have the opposite attitude. If you don't have money for something, don't get it. Do without. Wait until you have it. But I know many of us fall into that trap. We've got to have this. We've got to have this. Everybody else has this. Tara and I went without a dishwasher for the first 2 or 3 years of our marriage. Actually, we had a dishwasher, and his name was Daniel. I say that, but Tara did many, many dishes as well. But she did all the cooking, so I tried to do as many dishes as I could. But we didn't have a mechanical dishwasher that was hooked up to our sink that we put the dishes in and then came out clean like magic. Right? Why? We didn't have money for it. We didn't buy it. We didn't get it on credit. Right? Too many people say, I've got a house, now I need furniture. What do? Get out the plastic. Go to the store. 6 months, same as cash. 6 months is going to be very quick. And then it's not the same as cash. Nothing like cash. Right? So, save for the big purchases. Save. And that does a number of things for us. When we're saving for those larger purchases, it does a number of things. First of all, it slows us down. We think, I've just gotta have that. Whatever the latest fad is. Think about all the fads that you have experienced in your life. I was looking through the internet, just thinking about fads. I came across MC Hammer Pants. Do you remember MC Hammer Pants? Right? I saw a picture of those things. They are awful. They're the worst thing I think has ever invented. But you gotta have them, right? Because it's MC Hammer, right? Ready? Right? It's MC Hammer. You gotta have the pants if you're gonna do the dance. No, I'm not gonna do that again. Fads come and go by the minute, a nanosecond. Right? I saw so many. I typed in bad fads or past fads, and all these things started coming up. Hairdos, pants styles. Just crazy things that we just had to have when they were in. But when they're in is when they cost. Now that's just fads for fashion Or toys. Think about all the toys. What toy is in this year? I remember a couple of years ago it was one of the silly bands. I haven't seen one of those in over a year. Over 2 years, 3 years maybe. But these things, they come together. You gotta have them now. Wow. Why do we gotta have them now? So when you, and that's just the small ticket items, right? Those are relatively inexpensive. You talk about, I had a neighbor who had to have a Humvee. Had to have a Humvee. You know, we bought our house from him, and we signed the paperwork and said, okay, where are you going from here? He's like, I'm going from here to the Apple dealership. What is that, Ford? I'm going to go get me a Humvee. We bought our house, and he's going to take the money that we bought our house with. He's going to go buy a car with it? Fortunately, he saw the light before he wrote the check. But when you save for these big things, when you take the time to save for them, it gives you time to reflect. How much do I really need those MC Hammer pens? How much do I really need that Humvee? It's just something I'm interested in now. And when you save, you start to think, you start working hard, you think, wow, I really put in a lot of time. Do I really want to take all that time and invest it into whatever that fad happens to be? And it gives you time to reflect on really, what do you need and what do you just want because somebody else has it, or because you saw it on TV, or because for whatever reason. So it gives you time to step back and reflect on what you actually need. But it also gives you time to step back and reflect on how, if, let's say it's something that you really do need, and something that if you're saving, you really do want. It gives you lots of time to figure out the best way to get it. Maybe going to the retail store isn't the best way to get it. You shop over here, you shop over there, you shop over there, you talk to some friends, and lo and behold, you can find one for 1/3 the price. And it's doable. It is possible. And you find the best way to get it at the best price by taking your time. But also, by taking your time and saving, you are not paying the interest on the loan that you took out to get that thing that you just had to have right now because you couldn't wait for you to save money for it. And not paying those interest rates. So that's the third thing that's very helpful, that's beneficial by saving rather than buying on credit. But the fourth thing is that as you're saving, and that money is sitting in that investment spot, I know we don't have very high return rate, interest rate right now, but it's earning something. It's working in your favor. It's doing something for you. So the interest is working for you and not against you. So there's lots of reasons to wait and save rather than to buy on credit. I've had some people say, we've got to build a church now. We've got to build that new building now. What are we waiting for? Well, you've been watching the bulletin and you see where our building fund is. We're at we're over $700,000 now. And that is fabulous. That is the same principle that we're applying. Is we are saving to buy this building. And this money is working in our favor. And the building committee is doing a lot of hard work and prayer and research to figure out the best way to do it, the most economic way, and the way that we're going to get the most bang for the buck. The interest is working in our favor, and by not taking out a super huge mortgage, we're not going to be paying for our fellowship hall 30 years from now. Our children aren't going to be paying for our fellowship hall with their tithes and offerings. So we've employed this principle as well. Steady plodding brings prosperity. Steady plodding brings prosperity. And you can see the picture up there of the rabbit and the tortoise, Aesop's fable, where the rabbit challenges the tortoise to a race, and the rabbit sprints off, takes off like a shot. He's got to win the race, for sure. But the rabbit gets distracted. The rabbit lays down, decides to take a nap, and while he's sleeping, the slow-moving but steady tortoise passes by and ultimately wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race. Say, well, I would never get distracted. I would always, but if your goal is true financial freedom, debt-free is one of the stops along the way. Anytime that we take and purchase something on credit, something that we maybe could have gotten, I don't need the top-of-the-line automobile. I can't afford to get that right now. Oh, yes, I need that. I need it. I gotta take out that car loan because I gotta have this car. Because this is my car, baby. This is who I am. No, you're not. You're a a child of God in Jesus Christ. That's who you are. You don't got to have that car. The clothes don't make the man, and neither does the car. So instead of